Hi guys, good morning. I'm wearing these new pajamas that I got from Sleeper. I'm gonna link them down below for you. I am so obsessed. I actually got these because I'm going to a Galentine's party on Tuesday that Jessica is hosting, and there's a pink pajama dress code. And I definitely already have pink pajamas, but I just wanted an excuse to get a pair from Sleeper because I've always wanted them. Lo and behold, they had a sample sale the other day, so Carrie and I went and I got these, and I am so obsessed and I couldn't wait for the party. I had to wear them last night. They're so cute. It's like very oversized. Let me show you. And they have like little shorts, because I usually don't like to sleep in pants. I actually prefer to sleep in nothing, but they're just so cute and I really love them. And this is a size small medium. I feel like they run big, and some of the other stuff I tried on at the sample sale was an extra small, and that fit me really well. So maybe keep that in mind, that they run a little big. This morning, I wanted to film a little New Year's favorites video, just to chat with you a little bit, check in. How's our new year going? What are our resolutions? How are we feeling? Did anyone do dry January? I obviously did not. I do not believe in that. But if you did, let me know how that went for you. I just thought this would be a good opportunity to check in and share some of the things I was loving in January. First of all, I feel like I need to talk about my nails because I haven't gotten a color other than the like Hailey Bieber nails in over a year. And I finally pulled the trigger, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it's because I was depressed. I went through a serious bout of depression in January. It has nothing to do with the weather or the season. Like, I don't get seasonal depression. It's not like that. I don't know if I would say I'm someone that's like a depressed person, but I definitely go through bouts of it. I am an anxious person, and I think that sometimes bouts of depression like go hand in hand with that. I've been dealing with it my whole life. I had like therapists for parents, so I feel like I have good coping mechanisms and tools to kind of ride it out. It's usually situational, so it's like set off by something that's happening in my life or multiple things happening all at once. You know, I start to feel quite heavy and I just like lean into it. I feel like I'm a high functioning depressed person, so I just keep going through the things that I need to do. You know, it's not like I'm not showering and grocery shopping and getting up every day, which I'm grateful for, because I know some people go through bouts of depression, or they are depressed and that's like they can't even do those basic things, which I completely understand. But for me, I'm still functioning and doing things in my day-to-day life, still being social and whatnot. It's just like a feeling that I have. I feel different. Doing simple things takes a bit more effort, and I feel like I'm coming out of it now. The way that I deal with that is I turn to my certain comforts. I just kind of lean in, embrace it. Such a Pisces thing to say. But back to the nails, I could kind of feel the depressive episode like creeping in on me. I just decided to do hot pink. I felt like that would just like, I don't know, make me happy, like give me a tiny bit of like little bit of happiness when I look down at my nails, and it worked. It does. I will leave the salon that I go to down below. I've been going to this salon. They've moved a couple locations over the years, but I've been going to them. It's been a very long time, and I love them. They've been doing my nails literally forever. And if you've been following me for a really long time, I used to always get like pink with like rhinestones on them, iridescent glitter, light pink with like neon pink tips, almost like the pajamas. I would do that on my nails, bright blues. Like, I used to be really playful with my nails, and they were also quite a bit longer back in the day. As you probably know, in the past year, I've just done the Hailey Bieber, and I don't know why. I don't even care about Hailey Bieber. Like, I'm not a Hailey Bieber girly. I could give less of a fuck about her, no offense. I think I just loved how like sophisticated but kind of cool they looked, and I definitely think I'll go back in a couple of months, but it felt nice to like go back to neon pink like I used to do back in the day. I feel like the camera's not picking it up correctly, but I did this gelish color called Heartthrob, which is like a bright hot neon pink. We did a chrome powder over the top, but it's not the normal chrome. We tried the normal chrome that I would get before, and it looked really bad. And then she brought out one that was like a purplish blue, and that did exactly what I wanted, because now it has kind of like these bluish undertones, like when you know, and I love them. They bring me so much joy, and it's perfect for Valentine's Day. And then I also did, I feel like I cannot show you this without being a total creep. I did light pink on my toes, and the color is Winter Glow. I think it's a CND color. If they're on Amazon, I'll link them down below. Back in the day, if you guys remember Miss Glamorazzi, Ingrid Nilsson, I really liked her when I was really young, and she used to always say, every day may not be good, but there's something good in every day. And I was severely depressed at one time. That was something that I would like repeat to myself every day. I would try to find the something good in every day, and I even like would journal it and write it down. And I love that after all these years, that's still in the back of my head, and it's like, every day may not be good, but there's something good in every day. And even if the only good thing is my neon pink nails that make me smile, then okay, we'll start there and then we'll keep building. On that note, going back to January and my favorites, I have to share this favorite with you. It's so stupid, and I feel like if you don't care, you can totally just skip ahead. But my YouTube channel is for talking about things that I love, and you guys, what I'm loving right now is Law & Order SVU, okay? I am in the thick of it. Like, I am so deep back in the SVU fandom. It's so funny because it's just so random. I used to be like obsessed with Law & Order SVU, like as a child. My dad really liked it. He liked all the Law & Orders, Homicide: Life on the Streets, all these detective shows my dad really loved. I grew up watching them as well. I probably watched them younger than I should have, but who cares? It is what it is. My dad also loves to read, so he had a lot of like true crime books everywhere. I read the books that were in our house. So I was like 9 years old reading about like the Menendez brothers, you know what I mean? But I was always really interested. I, you know, felt like I was very smart and very curious as a child, and I would tell my dad all the time, like, I'm gonna be a detective. But I was also like, I'm gonna be Olivia Benson. And also I was like, Olivia Benson is my mom, you know? Like, she is mother. I think like, obviously I didn't have a mom, so I was like looking for like female figures to kind of like look up to in media. And there was a handful that I really looked up to. Mariska Hargitay was one of them. I was so obsessed with her. Like, I will kid you not, there's probably on my like first computer that I had when I was like in 4th grade or something, there's probably like I would save pictures from Google Images. like Mariska Hargitay. And I was like, oh my god, she looks so cool. Like, I want a jacket like that. You know, I make like a little mood board, like when I was like 10, I don't know. Anyway, I loved SVU. I'd seen every episode. My dad and I would like watch it together when it would premiere on Thursday nights, I think, and then I would watch it all weekend long. I'm sure most people have seen at least one episode. I was like deep in the fandom in like middle school and high school, but also like looking back in high school, I just had more time. I was in a lot of fandoms, and like I loved Psych. That's probably my favorite show of all time. If I had a gun to my head and I had to say something immediately, I would say Psych. Like Psych, Chuck, Scrubs, Friends, Law & Order SVU, CSI Miami. Yeah, I was in like a lot of fandoms. I think SVU was just really special because it's something that my dad and I shared. It's comforting in that way. And then when I moved to New York, if you watch the show, you know, and if you don't, then you don't care. But when I moved to New York in 2011, that's the same year, about the same time that Elliot Stabler, Detective Stabler, Chris Maloney left the show. And that was a betrayal to Olivia Benson, but also to me. And I was like very upset about it. And honestly, just like once I moved to New York, I'm in college, I'm like interning, I'm working, I'm in a relationship, like my life completely changed. And I just like didn't have time to be in like 12 different fandoms. And I just kind of like mentally and emotionally checked out. But SVU has always been a source of comfort, I feel like, because my dad loves the show, and every time I'd come home, it would be on TV and we'd watch together. Or like if I was babysitting late or like nannying late, it was always on TV. I like that it's a show you can always come back to. You don't have to watch it in order necessarily because it's like episodic procedural style. So you can just like watch one episode and learn about the case and then watch another one in a completely different order. So anyway, I'd heard during COVID that Chris, Detective Stabler, was coming back. But like honestly, this is something I've been psychoanalyzing myself a lot lately, because that's what I do when I'm, I guess, going through it. I realized that during COVID, I think because obviously I live in New York where like BLM protests were happening and where everything was very politically like charged, the city was really going through it. And I was here the entire time. I did not leave. I was alone during COVID, if you remember, for like 85 days. It was something very crazy like that. I have an old YouTube video about it. Living in New York during COVID, when Chris was coming back and he had his own show that's Law & Order Organized Crime that was premiering, and then SVU had him come back, and then there was like crossover episodes and all this. I like think I knew in my peripheral that that was happening, but like the last thing I wanted to do during COVID was watch Law & Order. Like I didn't want to watch something that was so real and was like hitting too close to home. And it's interesting because during that time when the world was like fucking falling apart is when I was really deep into sci-fi fandoms. Like that's when I was, I mean, I'm like always deep in the Star Wars fandom. I feel like I'm never too far, but that was like right after Rise of Skywalker had come out. I feel like the Star Wars fandom was really buzzing at that time. You know, Mandalorian was like really huge during that time, like Baby Yoda fucking everywhere. And then also the Dune movie had been announced. So like the Dune fandom was really reinvigorated, and I love both of those universes. I am really into sci-fi. So I feel like during COVID, when like the real world was falling apart, I was just lost in different galaxies, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like just in different universes. Like I didn't want to consume media that was like too real. I guess that's just kind of my own self-reflection as to why I wasn't watching SVU at that time. But anyway, there's been a lot of buzz lately because they started their 25th season. So there's been a lot of press. Like any TV show that's in their 25th season is crazy. I just had a moment, like I feel like, you know, cosmic timing, that I'm feeling in January a bit depressed and just kind of like seeking those comforts that I had when I was younger to comfort myself with. like SVU was just everywhere, gearing up for their 25th season. And I saw a video randomly on my homepage on YouTube that I will leave linked down below by this creator, Katie J. She is amazing. She did a 7-hour video on Elliot and Olivia's relationship, which sounds crazy, but it's really not. Like, for a TV show that had been on for 24 years and you're condensing the main relationship into 7 hours, it's like kind of understandable. So I put it on one day, and it was literally just like one day of me working from home. I watched the video and it kept me company, and it was amazing. Like, so well done, well researched, really interesting, and it was like cute and funny. It caught me up on all the things that I'd sort of missed because I'd watched episodes but like not in order, so I was kind of missing those like larger character arcs, and it filled in a lot of those blanks for me, and then caught me up on what had been happening since Detective Stabler came back. So I love that video, and that was like a big help, a big like launching point for me, that I watched it in January. And then I just dove back in on Peacock. Shout out to my best friend Jackie, who works for Peacock. Thank you for the Peacock login, because I used it. I'm using it a lot. But yeah, it's been really nice getting back into SVU, and I actually love Chris Maloney's show, Law & Order Organized Crime. They're only on their 4th season now, and SVU is in their 25th, like I said. Organized Crime is so good. I actually think it's better. Like, the writing on SVU is kind of like not great anymore. It used to be such a great ensemble show, and I think now it's kind of like mostly just about Olivia, which is not great. I think the crossover episodes are really interesting, where the characters like go in each other's shows, but Organized Crime is so good. Like, I really like it. It kind of is a bit unbelievable. Like, you have to suspend your disbelief, because like, as someone that has lived in New York for 12 years, there are not explosions going off like every other day like is happening on Law & Order Organized Crime. I feel like Detective Stabler is really in his like Jason Bourne era. Like, he thinks he's like an international spy, and it's like jumping and there's like bombs, and it's just like, babe, it's not really happening like that. Also, he's been shot at like literally 9 times, and I'm like, you're 58 years old. Like, maybe it's time to let someone else go out on the field, someone younger, no offense. It's not that realistic, but if you can like suspend your disbelief and kind of pretend that you're just like watching a movie, it's so good. Like, the writing is really sharp. The supporting actors are amazing. This one girl, Ainsley Seeger, I think, who plays Jet on Law & Order Organized Crime, is amazing. Like, I think she's gonna have such a great career. I've loved watching and catching up on Organized Crime and on the last few seasons of SVU, and the storyline is really good. I clearly missed a lot. This is like not a spoiler because it's been a few years now, but Elliot's wife is dead. She died in a car bomb, which is normal. He like told Olivia he loves her. He bought her a necklace. Like, things are happening. So I'm like, wow, this is a good time to get back in it. I've just been an SVU girly, and it's fun too, because I like live by the courthouse. They're always filming anyway, so I'm just kind of like, okay, hey girl, hey. That pretty much sums up like what I did in January, was watch a Law & Order SVU every day. But no, okay, I did other things. All right, hold on, I did other things. I also read a lot. I have books to share with you guys, and this is what you actually want to hear about. You don't want to hear about Olivia Benson. You want to hear about the books I read. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I think I already talked to you guys about this book in my like fall and winter favorites, Acts of Desperation. I'm pretty sure I already talked about this one. I hope I did, because I grabbed this by mistake, but what I meant to grab was Acts of Service. All right. I really love this book. It's such an interesting premise. A woman is in a relationship. She's queer. She's feeling unfulfilled by her girlfriend, despite her girlfriend being like loving and amazing. And she seeks out some sort of like online, like, what else is going on over here, right? So she finds another girl that she's really intrigued by, goes to meet up with her, and then finds out that that other girl has a boyfriend, and they're both interested in her. So there's a lot of like, it's a really interesting exploration, and I think it's very honest and real and not like unbelievable at all. Exploration into like, I wouldn't even say polyamorous relationships, just like non-traditional relationships, seeing the dynamics play out between the main character and her girlfriend, the main character and this new girl, and the new girl's boyfriend. It's just kind of a tangled web, but I find it like relatable. I don't know, like, I think it's just very raw. There's a lot of like sex scenes, but it's because it's like essential to the plot. That's like how they're developing their relationships. It's not like smutty. It's not like written in this kind of like, I don't know, romantic, like weird smut way. Like, it's written very earnestly and very raw and very real and like very believable. And I think I'm someone that when I read, I'm not really looking for an escape. I'm looking for something that hits close to home and is something that I can grab onto, and then I can say like, this makes me think about myself in a different way, or like I can take this with me in the future. I'm either reading something that's like totally fantastical and like sci-fi, or something that's like this. I didn't highlight as much as I wish I had. I like to highlight when I'm reading for myself, but also I found that it's helpful when making these videos to like refer to key passages that I find compelling and that you guys might enjoy. Where is it? Oh, it's just a really interesting exploration into sexuality, relationships, and how those relationships impact your view of yourself. The story definitely went in directions that I didn't think it was going in. Like there was a sort of like plot that took over in the later end of the book that really caught me by surprise and I really enjoyed it. But towards the beginning, the main character says to her roommate, because her roommate's kind of like, girl, what are you doing? Like you're in a relationship, talking to this new girl has a boyfriend, like what are you doing here? Her roommate is concerned. And the main character says, you know, I don't have any idea. I think that first I have to get the thing I want and maybe then I can figure out why I wanted it or whether it's good. And I highlighted that because ain't that the truth? Like I just think sometimes no matter how smart you are, no matter how self-aware you are, sometimes we do things just because we're like, I need to see where this road goes. Like, I know that it's weird. I know that maybe this is not right for me, but I need to go down the path. I need to know. I feel this wanting. I want to explore it. Let's see where it goes. And then maybe I'll be able to reflect on it in some meaningful way, but I won't know until I try. I found it interesting, but it really wasn't distracting at all that this book doesn't use any quotations whatsoever. Like, there's tons of dialogue, but there's no quotation marks. But it didn't bother me at all. Like, it was very easy to follow. Just the dynamic between these characters was so interesting. The back of the book says, with unnerving precision, Acts of Service takes between its teeth the contradictions written all over our ideas of sexuality and desire. What does sex reveal of ourselves and to one another? And how do we reconcile what we want with what we think we should want? Acts of Service doesn't kiss you first, it gets right to it, depicting the liquid frequencies of need and power with a thoughtful, savage eye. Again, like I want to stress, this isn't like some sappy romance novel that like your mom would read. It's not like that. I think sometimes when people hear that like a book has a lot of sex in it, they're like, ugh, okay. It's not like that. Sex is almost its own character. It's like a plot device used to like further explore the character's relationship with herself and with all these other people. And it's just like, it's life, right? That's reality. That's what happens. And I just appreciate the way that those scenes were written because it doesn't feel like cheesy or corny or uncomfortable. It just feels necessary. I really love this book. I read it in a few days when I was home in Chicago, like when I had some downtime, and then I finished it on the plane back to New York. I definitely recommend, and I noticed at McNally Jackson the other day that they have a ton of these on one of the display tables. So if you're in New York, pop by and pick it up. So the next book that I read was this one, Laughter in the Dark by Nabokov. If you guys don't know, Vladimir Nabokov also wrote Lolita, which I read a bajillion years ago. I read multiple times, but I read it first when I was probably way too young to read it. I tend to really like Russian authors, like Anna Karenina is one of my favorite books. I saw this book actually over Thanksgiving break when I was in Chicago at the like local bookstore by my dad's house, and I just was drawn in by the cover. Something about this like minimalist, bold cover, I was really drawn to it. I read the blurb on the back and I was like, wait, this book looks kind of good. And so I thought, oh, maybe I'll pick it up another time. And then I went back to New York, looked it up on Amazon, couldn't find it. I realized it was like not that popular, so there probably aren't that many copies like in print anymore. So then I go back to Chicago for Christmas and the book is still there. It's the only copy at the same bookstore. So a month later, it was like waiting for me. And I was like, well, it's mine now. I love this book. This might be the most enjoyable read I've had in years. Like I was like giggling reading this book. I was just like turning those pages. Anytime I had to put it down, I was thinking like, oh my God, I can't wait to go back and read later. Like I was in this book. It was much more lighthearted than I thought it would be. Usually I think of Russian lit as being quite heavy and dense, and this was a breeze to read. The blurb on the back, which got me to buy it, and it's not a spoiler because it's literally like the first 3 lines in the book. Once upon a time, there lived in Berlin, Germany, a man called Albinus. He was rich, respectable, happy. One day, he abandoned his wife for the sake of a youthful mistress. He loved, was not loved, and his life ended in disaster. It's about this guy Albinus, who is like an older, not old, I don't know, he's probably like 40 something or 50-year-old man who is clearly very wealthy, has a wife, a daughter, a beautiful life, falls in love with some like random mistress girl who's like very young, and she's just trying to play the field. Like she is sleeping with any man she wants to get some money, and like she's living her life, she's doing her thing, like whatever. He falls for her and she's kind of like, okay, let me take this guy for a ride, you know what I mean? mean? It's just so enjoyable. It's so funny. Like, this man like ruins his whole life to be with her. She doesn't give a fuck about him. I mean, she kind of does, but like not really. Like, I don't want to say like hijinks ensue, but like hijinks do be ensuing. It is funny as fuck. And I was not expecting that. I was literally giggling reading this book, you guys. Kicking my feet, giggling. It definitely only took me like a few days to read at the beginning of January. And like I said, every time I put it down to like go do something, I was thinking about it. And then I get excited to like pick it up again at night. I highly recommend. The translation was very easy to read, definitely not too dense. It was just such a quirky, funny little story. I really, really loved this book. If you've read Lolita or if you know anything about it, which I feel like most people do, but maybe you don't. Lolita, which is his most famous book, is about an older man who's obsessed with like a very young girl in a very perverted way. Like, you're supposed to hate that main character in Lolita, like you are supposed to despise him. It's supposed to be a very like dark look at the world, and you are not rooting for the main character in Lolita at all. But this book is different. You're still rooting for this guy. He's not that bad. This girl's not like 12 years old. She's like 19 or something. So it toes the line a little bit, but it's nothing that is like completely immoral. So like you're still rooting for the main character, sort of, or at least you have some sympathy for him. But like you're also clapping and giggling when Karma is like shoving its foot up his ass. It's kind of, it's just so funny. It's enjoyable. It was lighter than I expected it to be. I'm really glad I took a chance on the cover. If I can find some copies of it online, I will link it down below for you guys to check out. I highly recommend. I almost say like, if you've never read Nabokov, like maybe don't even bother reading Lolita. Like just read this. It's so good. I feel like it's something that maybe would be assigned in school. I could see it being like assigned reading in some like Russian lit class or something, but it'd be one of those books that you actually enjoy reading for school. Do you know what I mean? This was a riot. I loved reading this. The last book I read in January, I'm not proud of myself because like, I wish I'd read more. Like I really didn't do that much last month. I should have read more books. As I mentioned, there's like 24 seasons of Law & Order SVU, and these episodes are an hour long. So like I was clearly occupied solving crimes with Olivia Benson for much of the month, but I did make time to read this book, which I think I mentioned in my last video, Someone Who Will Love You in All Your Damaged Glory. Sorry, I had to change my camera battery. I mentioned this in my last video. I gave you guys a heads up that I would be reading it. I liked it. I liked it. I just like other vignette style books more. It's by the creator of BoJack Horseman, which I have admittedly never watched, but a lot of people have recommended it to me. It's vignette style, like little short stories that are quirky and, you know, just like imaginative, sort of rooted in reality, but with some like absurdist characters or plot points. Like one of the stories is told in the perspective of like a guy's dog. The thing that I like about books like this is they're easy to read if for whatever reason reading a full book feels a bit daunting, because you can absolutely just pick it up, read a little story, put it down, come back to it whenever, and it doesn't matter if you've forgotten what you read because it's a completely new story. So for that reason I liked it. I don't know, there was nothing wrong with it, but I also like didn't highlight anything in it. Nothing in it really like grabbed me so much and sat with me so heavily that I felt like I needed to highlight it. I was just kind of like reading it, like kind of just going through the motions, if that makes sense. I'm looking at my books here. There are other vignette style books that I think I prefer more. No One Belongs Here More Than You by Miranda July. My friend Aurora got that book for me. That book was so good, and I've reviewed that I think on this channel. And then also there's a Tessa Moshfit. Oh yeah, Homesick for Another World. Similar. I feel like those two were better. Even like BJ Novak's book, One More Thing. David Sedaris. What's that David Sedaris book that I read? Where is it? Something about an owl. I don't know. I'll leave it linked down below. But those short story books, I feel like either sat with me more. I was like highlighting things because I felt impacted, or I was like laughing out loud or trying not to laugh. I didn't feel that way when I read this. Like I don't remember ever being like actually laughing. Maybe I wouldn't like BoJack Horseman. I don't know. Anyway, it was okay. It was okay. I'm more excited though about the books that I'm gonna be reading in February. So I felt like I would share them with you in case you guys wanted to read alongside me. I'm not sure what order I'm gonna read these in. I just got a few new books and then I decided to pull some old ones that I've had for a while and just have never read. I'm gonna have this little pile like out on my nightstand and just try to only pick from here and not go to the bookstore anymore and buy more. I'm probably gonna start with this. This is Sputnik Sweetheart by Murakami, Haruki Murakami. He's one of my favorite authors. Norwegian Wood is probably one of my favorite books of all time. And I've read Wind Up Bird Chronicles and Kafka on the Shore, which I think I've reviewed on this channel. This was recommended in a recent video by Jack Edwards. If you guys love reading, you have to subscribe to Jack Edwards and check out his channel. He does a series where people ask for recommendations based on like weird prompts, and he recommends from his collection. I don't remember what the prompt was that someone gave him, but it says right here, part romance, part detective story. Sputnik Sweetheart tells the story of a tangled triangle of uniquely unrequited love. And I was like, unrequited love? Tangled love triangle? Detective story? I already told you that I'm in my like Olivia Benson era right now. So I was like, let me get this. So I'm really like excited about this. I think I'll probably start with this book. When I got that one the other day, I saw Joan Didion's Year of Magical Thinking. This has been on my to be read list for a very long time. I love Joan Didion. Her and Eve Babbitt's are like some of my favorite female authors. I've just avoided this book for a while because I know that it's quite depressing. It's literally about death and dying. I was kind of avoiding it, but I don't know, maybe like coming out of a depressive episode, eternally heartbroken, maybe I'll just give it a try. I pulled from my collection The Idiot by Dostoevsky because I was reminded how much I enjoy Russian literature. Also like LOL that they're always so monochromatic. I've had this book for a few years and never read it. I've read other works by Dostoevsky, but never this. This is a classic, so it's just obviously quite dense. It's a lot. So I don't know when I'll get around to reading this, but we'll see if I can get through that. And then I've also had this for quite a while, Little Weirds by Jenny Slate. I've just seen excerpts from it online many times, and I've always thought to myself like, oh, that seems like it's so smart and interesting. I think it's also like a similarly written vignette style book, little stories and prose and whatnot. This shouldn't be difficult to read. I'm hoping I can get through this at some point. And then I also completely forgot that I have this, Latvona, I hope I'm saying that right, Otessa, whose last name I probably can't pronounce, Moshfegh. I have a signed copy, which I didn't even really realize. I bought this a long time ago. It might even be in a really old YouTube video where I bought it. Just never read it, never got around to it. I would like to finally get through that this month because I've read almost all of her other books, like 4 out of 5. All that to say, this is my lineup for the month of February. I will leave them all linked down below. If you guys are interested in reading alongside me, let me know. All right, I'm almost done. So clearly I spent all of January like literally watching Law & Order SVU, reading books. I did a lot of clothing donation, selling clothes, deep cleaning, reorganizing my closets, my drawers, many container store trips. I'm happy that like even though I was feeling a bit down emotionally and mentally, I was like still productive in some ways. And I was also applying to a lot of jobs. I think I've mentioned this before, but I have left nannying behind me and I'm looking for another job to fill in the blanks from doing YouTube. Like I have more time on my hands and I want a more traditional job. And I kind of am craving like coworkers and stuff like that, which I never craved before, but I am now. So I'm trying to find something that works for me and my schedule and my interests. So I have been applying to a lot of jobs. In January, I was just really trying to balance like this like hibernating and feeling kind of down and just like being cozy and watching SVU all day and feeling comforted and whatnot, taking baths and not leaving the house, with also being a bit social and trying to like network a little bit. So I have to mention, I've gotten the same planner every year for 4 years now, I think. I started in 2021, 22, 23, 24. I get the same one every year. It has my name, the year. This is from Papier. I have a discount code, so I will leave it linked down below and you guys can check them out. Other than planners, they have like stationery, journals, everything is customizable. As you can see, I get the little like SR on the bottom there. You can have it say anything here. I just like to do my first and last name and the year. But yeah, I'll do some clips so I can show you guys like more what's inside. I also got these stickers from Erin Condren. They did a collab with Hello Kitty, and I used to get in college an Erin Condren planner. When I was like in college and interning and working multiple jobs and like was so freaking busy, Erin Condren was my go-to for planners. They're expensive, but they were worth it at the time. They just were a bit excessive. Like after I graduated, I didn't really feel like I needed to be that crazy. When I hear Hello Kitty collab, I'm there. So I got the stickers to put in my planner and I've really been liking that. And then I also got to-do lists that are sticky and you can like, you know, move them to different pages in different weeks. These are from Russell and Hazel and I got them from the Container Store, so I can try to link them, but it's just like a notepad and it's light pink and it's just like lined and you can write whatever you want. I'm making a packing list right now because I'm doing a little staycation this weekend. So I was writing that down. The pens that I use are from Poppin. I will also leave those linked. I haven't used any other pen in like 6 years. And then I decided to finally splurge. They're not that much of a splurge on the Zebra mild liner. If you guys are on TikTok and you're in the like organizing side of TikTok, then I'm sure you've seen these before. I've always wanted to try them. I'm obsessed. Like I really love them. I just got them on Amazon. They're like all different color highlighters, but they're double tipped. You have like a traditional highlighter tip, but then you also have like a chiseled one for like writing. I use like Google Cal. I use like the notes app in my phone for my schedule, but there is something so satisfying about like making a list and highlighting it when it's done. It just looks very satisfying to me when I'm like looking back in my planner. Yeah, I'm really happy that, like I said, despite being emo for a while now, I feel like I've made good progress with like job applications and kind of figuring out more of like what I want to do. Even just with like content, I've planned out a lot of stuff for the next couple of weeks and I'm really excited about that. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. So that was kind of like the theme of my January and of my new year. I'd love to know if you guys have resolutions, what they are. For me, I guess my main resolution is obviously to find a job that I'm passionate about and that fills up my time and that kind of satisfies some of those needs that I'm having at the moment for like security. Like being self-employed is hard and I would like some more financial security, job security, and just like the option for like long-term growth that's a bit more predictable, because obviously being a YouTuber, it's like not predictable. There's a lot of luck involved. Things come and go in waves. I'm looking for that. I think I've also just been seeking like more community or a different community. I definitely have like a great network of friends in New York and a great social circle, but it's all pretty much really heavily intertwined with nightlife, which like isn't bad by any means, but it's just, I want something different. I have other interests and I would love to meet people that are interested in other things that I'm interested in. And like, I think I've definitely made good strides, like with being a member of French Institute, like I've mentioned before, the New York City Ballet Young Patrons, and just kind of getting involved in some different cultural communities. But also like when you're working a job with traditional coworkers, you're like spending time with other people that are maybe interested in some of the same things as you or maybe not, and you can learn something new and meet new people. So I think I've just been craving that. And also on that note, I made it a resolution to see more live music because I am so lucky to have so many really talented friends that are like artists and in bands and perform a lot. There's so many venues in the city. So I'm gonna leave link down below. Like my friend Miranda, she's a great singer and she's always performing around the city. My friend Daniel is in a band. My friend Ludwig is in a band and he plays a lot. I just wanted to make more of a conscious effort to like plan to see my friends play when they're going to perform, because I just think I used to be better about like seeing live music all the time, and being like a DJ booth groupie is not the same as like going to see live performances at like iconic venues in New York and meeting other people who love the same music that I love. That's what they do in their free time and that's what I want to do in my free time. So I did see my friend Miranda's show in January. I want to find something to go to in February, so I will keep you posted on that and how that goes. But I think those are kind of my main resolutions for the new year. Oh, and to get back in shape. I have felt really out of shape the past few months and I haven't really been doing any working out other than like going on long walks, which is not enough for me. I started going back to SoulCycle. If you've been following me for a long time, you may know I have been going to SoulCycle since like 2014. I used to go 3 days a week. It used to be such a huge part of my life. Just during COVID, I kind of fell off. I went a few times after COVID, but actually once I moved down to Tribeca from the Upper West Side, I have a gym in my building. So I was like, oh, why should I pay for SoulCycle classes when I have a gym? But it's like, I don't really go to the gym that much. I don't enjoy it. I like the class aspect. I like the music. I like the instructor pushing me. I like that I sit at the front and I feel the pressure of people looking at me like I am gonna perform. I'm gonna hit this choreo. I am going to nail this and ride on beat the whole fucking class. And I just don't feel that pressure when I'm like at the gym by myself. It just doesn't do it for me. So I think I need to be better about going to classes. So I signed up for a few. I went back last week to my first one with Carrie. She came with me and it was Dua Lipa versus Charlie XCX. If anything could get me on a bike again, it was Houdini. Like I was up on that bike. It was hard. My stamina's definitely kind of dipped, but it was so nice, like going right back into all the choreo that I'm like really familiar with. Like it just felt like coming home. So I'm excited to be back at SoulCycle. That reminds me, I got a request to do a video about like my workout favorites and essentials, different clothing brands and things like that. And I love that idea. So I'm definitely gonna work on that. And I will do that soon. While we're talking about working out, I got new Nikes, and you guys, I'm obsessed with these. These are so cool. I got mine at Nordstrom and they still had a bunch of sizes. So I'll try to see if I can find a few places where they still have these, because I feel like they're kind of cool and popular and maybe a lot of people are trying to get them. Because I saw them on Revolve the other day, but they were all sold out in like every size. But I have the Nike MK2, M2K, whatever. I have those. I've really worn them into the ground with all the hot girl walks on the nasty Williamsburg Bridge, you know what I mean? I have a pair of New Balance, which I like, just not as much. I prefer to wear those in like a more casual sort of way. So I felt like I needed another pair of Nikes to kind of spread the wear. I'm obsessed with these. They're like silver, cream, black, white, really, really cool. These are called the like VK2, I don't know. I will leave them linked down below. I've been wearing these recently on my hot girl walks, which have been very few and far between. It's been like 10 degrees in New York, but as it starts to get a little warmer, we get closer back to the like 40s and stuff, you best believe that I will be wearing these on my hot girl walks. A little preview to my workout favorites and workout essentials. This is probably the most rambly video ever. My ring light died halfway through and I didn't even have the energy to go and get a new one, but hopefully you guys enjoyed anyway. I will leave all the things I mentioned linked down below. Please share with me your resolutions. Also, I want to know, first of all, if you're a Law & Order fan, SVU or OC, if you guys watch those shows, do you have opinions? Do you have any hot takes? Like, who are your favorite characters? Like, let me know. Or what other fandoms are you guys in? What TV shows are you loving? Let a girl know. Yeah, let me know if you're gonna read any of these books this month. Subscribe if you're not already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Everything else will be linked down below, my Instagram, blah, blah, blah. And I will see you in my next video. Bye kisses. Bye, bye, bye.